What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Discussion Combustion, episode 65. We're back in the building. You know, it's September now. Time is cruising on. You know, things are cooling down a little bit. They're heating up. What's really going on? I'm going to ask you this, Art. You know of any good places where I can get a little bit of CBD?
Oh, absolutely, man. My boys at mountainmade.life. That's the place to go. This is your crystal clear CBD product, people. We got them on the table. I mean, these guys are doing things that other companies aren't doing out there. If you're regulated or looking, they are regulated. So if you're looking for CBD on your shelves in your dispensaries or wherever you are nationwide, they're good to go for that as well.
Absolutely. Basic products, guys. Build, boost, recover, puff. They got your bases covered. Big thing they just rolled out is the auto send, auto ship feature. Sign up over on their website. Never even have to worry about it. Out of sight, out of mind. Put in your orders. They'll show up to your door every month. That's that hashtag go like hell mentality.
Absolutely. Discussion Combustion is also brought to you by Wild Outdoor Adventures.
That's WOAMEET.com. It's an online outdoor activity community. As simple as that, guys. Summertime is winding down. It's a great way to connect with others. It's free to sign up. They're offering backpacking trips, overnight hikes, doing all kinds of great things, guys. You know, the COVID's kept everyone indoors. It's a great opportunity to get outdoors, and these guys are bringing it to you.
Trek those trails, people. It's going to give you a lot of extra benefits. You know, you're in the trees, you're feeling the wind hit your face. You know, this is something that's going to be healing to you and helping you move forward and tackle the next week.
That's less dreaming and more exploring.
Absolutely.
Let's jump into this thing, man. This is episode 65, and today's guest is a writer. He's an actor. He's a comedian. He's the host of the 31 podcast. Brandt Tobler. What's up, man?
What's up, boys? How are you?
Oh, man, we're doing good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for making the trip down. It's good to see you. Good to meet
you guys, I've done a million podcasts. You nailed the ads better than anyone I've ever seen.
We ad-lib them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every week it's a little different.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we just kind of, that's what's great about our sponsors, man. They give us the freedom to just kind of.
Well, you guys, your sponsors should be happy because I've seen so many comics just butcher, or podcast hosts just butcher ads. And I was just sitting here in awe, like, the few times I've done ads, I'm like, hey, you should try this because they support the show and I think it's pretty cool. But I was like, you guys are nailing it, so that was impressive.
Oh, thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, they're a lot of fun to work with, but you know, it's part of the business, right? It's part of how the podcast industry works. You know the game.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's without the fans, they have no idea how much it means.
Oh, yeah.
Just little stuff too. Like I'm sure you say it all the time, but just rate, subscribe, review. It's so weird that once I explain to listeners how important it is, they're like, oh, I could have done that in 10 seconds. I'm like, yeah, that's why we all say it because it really, really helps us and it costs you nothing. So
that's true.
It's but no, I love podcasting and I'm sure you guys are the same way. Just the fans. I've made friendships, people all over the world from doing this. So it's cool, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, especially during the COVID times. I mean, it's limiting a lot of interaction. So it's cool that we're able to get together, have a beer, have you on the show.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just being able to, everything's on Zoom now. You know, people are doing a lot
and if you need hand sanitizer, we do
a little bit of that.
We got that
you
close.
You gave me Bud Light. That's what I need.
Yeah,
that's what sanitizes me.
It's got the same ingredient, right?
Yeah. No, I love that we're live, and honestly, if you guys have been like, hey, you want to do a Zoom, I'd have been like, yeah, someday or something. I've avoided all Zoom just because I just don't think it translates, especially in my world of stand-up. It's just not, the ones I've watched, these are awful.
Yeah.
And I feel like podcasting, too.
And the audio could be different.
Yeah,
it's,
and there's
it's not
a delay
mixed as well. And
so it's cool to be around people and hanging out.
Yeah,
so thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, you've been a busy man. You've been jumping around, you know.
I'm trying, man. It's starting to come back to life a little bit. So I've done some road gigs this last month, and it's been fun just to kind of get back to normalcy because I'm a super happy dude, and this is the first time I've ever dealt with any depression or anything. I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Through the COVID, just because I've been doing, the longest I ever went without performing was maybe 8 days.
Oh, wow.
And I made it to I think around 100, 108. So I was like, man, this sucks. So
yeah,
it's been rough, but it's starting to get back to normal, and I'm lucky I got a great girlfriend, so that helped because I'm sure you guys are the same. I know a lot of people didn't make it through this COVID.
It was definitely a test for a lot of people, especially with everyone working
hanging
at
out
home.
by yourself.
Yeah,
that would suck. Your cat becomes more important than it was before all of a sudden.
Yeah, I told my girlfriend, I said, I don't know what I'd have done without you. I would have been miserable.
Yeah.
But like I said, some of my friends, I was supposed to be a groomsman in a wedding. They broke up through this. A lot of people have broken up. I think it was you get to find out, I'm supposed to be with this person or I'm definitely not supposed to be with this person.
It's a true test for sure. I heard domestic violence is up 300%.
I'm sure.
During the quarantine period, just domestic violence and disputes and all that stuff. It's wild.
Yeah. We're starting off on a positive note. Sorry, I don't know how I got here. I'm like, oh, and then everybody's beating up their girlfriends. And...
Yeah, I mean, my girlfriend and I, like, so we both work from home, and we used the same kitchen table for a while, and it was like, and I started working a little bit earlier than her, and then she comes out, and since then I have an office in the back because we learned space is good while we work, because I would be breathing or something, or I smoke weed daily, so. Like I wake up and I'm usually like do a little bit of those, and that would get really bothersome. Yeah, she's like, "Can you stop breathing over there, please?" So it's definitely been a test. But man, during the beginning of COVID, we drank like fish.
I think everyone did.
We were drinking whiskey bad.
What's crazy is I went the other way.
Really?
Yeah.
And I drink way too much. It's just kind of part of comedy life. But for the first 40 days, I didn't drink, which was and then I just went crazy.
So when the lockdown hit, you also locked down the lid.
Yeah.
You just weren't boozing.
Well, you know what? We just don't. My girlfriend and I, we don't drink a lot at home because I do shows almost every night.
Now, do you drink when you perform?
Yeah, always. So
I would have to. I think.
It's I have a beer too coming right before I get there, and then afterwards, when people want to buy you shots and drinks, it's like. Because when you start out as a comedian, you're just so broke that you're just trained to take anything for free. Yeah. So now you still have that mindset. So I was drinking way too much as it is. And then, so this COVID was like a good 40, I took 40 days off, which I never thought because people do like, they do sober months or whatever.
We're getting ready to do that next month.
Oh, see, I don't have the discipline for that, man. I'm a social drinker. And when I'm around, like you guys saw it when I got here, you want beer? I was like, no, and then I saw you guys get beers. I was like, what am I going to be?
Are you guys drinking?
Yeah, I was like, what am I not going to drink and just sit here like a nerd while you guys drink? I was like, all right. So I'm bad with the social part of it. But, but
it was normalized though.
Yeah. It's fun.
It is. Yeah, I mean, definitely, kind of liquefies what's going on. So easing back into stand-up, and as the comedy club started opening up again, what's that been like? I mean, for you, did you have to go through a lot because they're spacing people out?
Yeah. That everything's different. Like you switch microphones, the audiences are definitely different, spaced out at about half capacity. But to be honest, I was worried about the energy because here in Denver, we're so lucky to have Comedy Works, which is considered one of the best clubs in the world. Sure. And it's just a magical place. So first time coming back, I was like, this is going to be weird, but it really wasn't. Like, I feel like the people that came out were just so happy to be out. So,
I mean, everyone's super excited to like do anything outside of the house. Like for the beginning of the quarantine, like the walk, because we were strict. Like we would order our groceries delivered, and we were being strict for like DoorDash. 2 months.
I spent way too much money on DoorDash, dude.
So like the walks were life for us. Like, and it was just a walk around the neighborhood, but that was like the thing to do.
Yeah.
And so like anything beyond that, like it's odd that this is the year that we're dealing with, and how excited people, are getting just to go to a bar.
Yeah.
It's like different now. It's like not the norm to just go to a bar right now.
People are eager. They're eager to get back to it. Did you guys hear what Vandermeer was doing yesterday?
No.
They hosted this, I think it was called the COVID Chaos Night. And basically it was just an open event. There was no racing. It was just a venue to organize basically a COVID protest, if you will. A group of people that weren't.
COVID chaos?
That's what it was called. Yeah. And they hosted at Vandermeer, and people were fired up. Jeffco had issues with it because they apparently broke some rules back in July or something. But people they're ready to get back to it.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Wyoming, so I go back to home a lot. Excuse me, which is Cheyenne, and they were way lax on it. It was and I took my girlfriend to Saratoga, Wyoming, a small town, for her birthday, and we're so trained to wear the masks here because it's just Denver. We got to this little town and we had our masks on, and it was like opposite mask shaming. Like we were like. Everyone looking at us like we were the sick ones to the point where we're like, let's just take these off because we feel weird being the only ones wearing masks. So it's. I think Denver's done a great job. Like at first I was like, I don't want to wear these masks, and then I just realized, it's not about me, it's about everybody else. But one time I forgot. I was just going to run in 7-Eleven and grab some ice cream, and I forgot my mask.
And the
lady just started screaming at me behind the counter, hey, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm sorry. But I was like, I haven't been yelled at like that, so I was like a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, now I keep masks in the car, and it just became a way of life. Just phone, wallet, mask every single time.
Rapidly, too. I mean, because when it first hit, we were all under the impression, like, this is only going to last for 3-4 weeks, something like that. Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
And here we are going into September, October, and
it's going to keep rolling for a while, I feel
think
like.
so.
Yeah.
I feel like it's at least another year of this. Like, at least.
I hope not, man. I hope not, but I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's hard to see like how it will ever go back to being the same. Like with people working remotely to people being paranoid about germs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's changed humanity.
Well,
this little thing.
They're doing a lot of different things. I noticed, like these drive-in comedy shows.
Yeah.
You thinking about doing anything like that? Getting on some of those?
I would. I mean, at some point we just have to adapt to what they're doing. So I've been fortunate that I've done enough. I can still do some indoor shows, just the social distancing. But I mean, I would do the drive-in, but it's not what comedy. Comedy's built for like a small room, everybody packed in.
Intimate venue.
Intimate, yeah, on top of each other, low ceilings, everything you don't want with COVID. So it's frustrating.
Why the low ceilings for comedy?
Just to keep the laughs in, to like.
It makes it like
it makes
the
a huge
reverb.
difference.
An acoustic environment.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So if I do like a hotel ballroom or something, and the laughs just go up into space, but where like at Comedy Works downtown, it's just. The laughs just come and
your
hit
face.
you like a wave. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, and that's the thing, like Comedy Works downtown, that was like a magical place. And I was the last one to ever headline it before this COVID, but I don't want that to be like on my Wikipedia. I'd like something better. Even
Brent
though it'd
Tobler was
be
the last
20
comedian
years
to
from
headline.
now,
Yeah.
well, yeah, still the last one to headline comedy.
yeah, it'd be
Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not. I'm sure it won't be. But.
Comedy Works is back doing some shows again,
So
right?
yeah, they're back
Throwing
at the
some headlines?
South Club.
Okay, at the
Because
South.
the South Club's bigger, and then
Yeah.
they do
got that
like,
upper deck.
Yeah, 50%, and they spread everybody out, and then they live stream them. So they're trying. We just want these places to survive. So many comedy clubs aren't going to make it through this. It's
true.
So many comics aren't going to make it through this because we live week to week usually. When you're coming up. So I wouldn't be surprised when it comes back. There's a chance I won't see half the people that were in the scene before this started, which was all right because some of them suck anyway. So a good way to weed them out, honestly. Maybe there is some good with this COVID, but
yeah. I mean, I guess time will tell, really.
yeah.
And again, going back to what we started with the podcasting thing, that's what's cool is it's given everyone a chance to sit down and still reach your fan base and your listeners.
Well, there's so many people that are like, I'm not going to do a podcast. I'm like, that's so backwards. Everybody has a podcast. And the best part about it is you can create whenever you want. Mm-hmm. So like what came of this, so I have my podcast at 31, which I do interviews with people, but I created a new podcast kind of during this called Craigslist Chaos, which I love because I can just do it. If I'm ever feeling lazy, I built a podcast studio in my house like you guys did. I just go downstairs and get on Craigslist, and I can just create content whenever I want. So.
Yeah, I think I checked out one where you kind of like, essentially it's like a prank call, right?
Yeah. Well, I just get on Craigslist, and I put "call me" in the search bar, and I just go to different cities, and anyone dumb enough to put their phone number on, I just call them. And like today, I did one today. So I tried to buy a dog, and someone to try to get a job, and then some lady was trying to sell me something. Her husband called back and argued with me, so he's gonna kill me. It's just fun. It's like immature.
That sounds like some pretty good content.
It's just fun. What's great about the episodes is you just never know what's gonna happen.
Well, then do you have to get their permission?
No, I mean, no, I don't care.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe technically there's
like at the end, like, do you consent to me putting this out there or something?
No, by the end they're usually so mad at me
that they're hanging up.
With them. But, some of the people are just lonely too. Sometimes I'll start messing with somebody. And then they'll just want to keep talking because
they'll start telling you their life story.
Yeah, they'll be like, hey. So I think it's probably legal in some states, but that's never been my philosophy. I just apologize later, whatever that saying is.
You're better off begging for forgiveness than asking for permission.
Beg for forgiveness.
So I'm sure in the beginning people are like, you're not supposed to do that. I was like, well, I think we have bigger fish to fry. Yeah. I'm not really. If you are worried about me doing a prank call show on the internet, I mean, whatever.
We have bigger problems for sure, and at the same time, it's providing entertainment to people at a time where people need it.
Yeah, I love it, man. It makes my day.
That does sound like a hoot.
You just never know what's gonna happen. I mean, I've had so many crazy calls because people are on Craigslist are just. And then I had this. There's a Utah one, like a Utah classified ad. With all these crazy Mormons, but I got kicked off of that, but that was fun for a while. But just calling, trying to buy stuff, or like, I just love it because when I get in the studio, I'm like, well, we'll see what happens today. You just never know. So it's been fun.
That's the fun of winging it.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Winging It, the infinite joy of doing something on a whim.
Yeah. So now do you just power up and then hit record and then make a call? Just patch it in?
People are like. you should edit it and stuff, which would be, some people are always going to complain about free entertainment, but no, I mean, that's what it goes through ups and downs, because sometimes I'll hit like 4 voicemails. I'm like, shit, but I just keep, you just keep firing. And then the listeners that love the show, they're patient. They know to get to the magic, you got to go through.
There's a build up.
There's some voicemails. I mean, but I've had 50 just crazy voicemails and stuff. It's just, so yeah, there's just no, literally I would just get on and I would say, like, if whenever I get a new Patreon, wherever they're from, let's say, like today I got a Patreon from Minneapolis, and I go, all right, here, thank you, my new Patreon. Marissa, you live in Minneapolis, here we go. And then I just go into Minneapolis, and then I'll start with just put call me in the space bar, and then I'll go to gigs, or I'll try to get jobs, try to buy stuff, and then over time I get characters that I call back. I've had like 4 or 5 like weekly regulars that we check in with.
Yeah.
They're just crazy people, just absolutely nuts.
Yeah, that's funny, man. I'm gonna tune in and listen to some of that, because that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
Now, does your girlfriend get on the mic with you and do some stuff?
So my girlfriend and I, we do a weekly podcast too, called Dead to Us, and she's a hairstylist, and then we just have good chemistry, and it's fun, and because I probably did 200 podcasts before we met. So then to convince her to convert our extra bedroom into a podcast studio, I think I needed her to be a part of it. Sure. And she loves it.
That's good.
And people, I think she's more popular than I am, honestly. Really? Everyone's like, oh, your girlfriend's the funniest, and because she doesn't know about this world. She just gets on the mic and just goes.
She's herself.
Yeah. She's just,
and people love it.
She has no idea. So we have fun with that. So it's been fun, man. It's just like, I just love doing them, and be it with her or with, if I interview somebody or Craigslist, it's just, that's why I love like what you guys did. And I tell people, I built it. You just bet on yourself. The time I didn't have money, I got like all the equipment, soundboard, everything, put it on a 6-month payment plan. And I did that from about June to like January. I paid it all off, I think, end of January. Then the COVID hit, and everybody else couldn't do anything, and I was like, "Here we go! I could do it all day,
content.
Every day." Yeah.
And that's the key word, is being able to create.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, you kind of went into a little bit of depression, not being able to do your thing after consistently. What'd you say? The longest you went between shows was 8 days. Yeah.
So it's just, I've never gone through any kind of depression. I was just like, I don't know if it's or just frustration, but I was like, there was a couple of days I'd just be like, oh my gosh, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like people be like, oh, I bet you got
Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, exactly. Just a bad one. And people be like, I bet you wrote so much material. I'm like, no, because I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I just did the same thing every day.
Yeah.
I was like, it was just boring. So it was a weird time, but
we're getting back to it.
Yeah, we're getting out of it.
We're getting back to it. I'm looking forward to getting back to the comedy club and seeing somebody.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I mean, it's good getting out, man. But a little update for the listeners, because this has been going on for a while. Like, I finally got my boot taken off, which I was talking about.
You're looking good, man.
A little bit before, and so like I actually wore the boot too long. The physical therapist told me like I should have probably taken it off sooner. But I'm back to like walking around normal. And like, going on those walks, and God, I gotta tell you, like it's so nice just to like, you don't realize like how much of your body you need and use daily until like you injure something. And man, that's helped with, because I wasn't able to move. I was sitting, I was gaining weight. Like I probably put on 20 pounds since the ankle injury.
How long were you in the boot?
I mean, I had it for like 8 weeks, 9 weeks. It was a bad injury though. When it happened, like it was the toes to the middle of the shin bruised and super swollen, and I thought it was broken, but they said everything was aligned and it was tissue.
Sprain.
Yeah,
man, I've been there. Well, you know what I got is gout.
Oh, do you?
Messes up walking sometimes.
Oh, wow.
As I drink this beer that I'm not supposed to be drinking, but yeah, the gout. I hope not. You guys.
So
you never have that.
Is that from like eating too much steak or like some wine or like?
They always joke about it because they say it's the king's disease.
Yeah,
and you get it from like too much red meat and shellfish and alcohol and I always say, like, I've met a lot of people with gout. They're always cool. It's like, you don't just accidentally get gout. You've lived your life. You're never gonna.
You've earned it.
Yeah, you've earned gout. So I try to claim it as like a badge of honor. But man, when it flares up,
what is your foot get swollen?
Yeah,
like
you can get it in like your joint. Sometimes I'll go to my elbow or my wrist, but when I get it in my foot, you usually get it right by your big toe.
Oof.
And that's just tough. But one time I got it in my ankle, and then I couldn't. I was doing shows in Vegas too. and I couldn't walk. Of course, the hotel room was a mile away from the showroom.
Yeah.
And so I had to get like a little scooter thing, and I would just drive it right up on stage, limp up there and be like, hey, I got gout, so I'm going to sit down, I'd do my act, and then just scoot right back to my room.
Yeah.
But yeah, if any of the listeners watching that have it, they know. Just me talking about it probably makes them cringe.
So it's like drinking water, like hydrating helps immediately.
I take a daily pill, and then I drink water, and I think mine flares up a lot with sugar.
Yeah.
Really?
So I got rid of soda for a long time. But then,
soda's horrible, man.
Yeah, but it just tastes so good.
It does, especially with Crown Royal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. See, now you get a little wild.
That's what I was doing too much of. Like, we were drinking the liquor and then putting the soda on top of it.
Too much, man. That's too much.
You gotta have a chaser with that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's catching up. I just had my blood work done, I don't know, 6-7 weeks ago, and in my early 30s already, I'm feeling it, seeing the results. Triglycerides are high, liver enzymes a little bit elevated. And my doctor's like, look, you got to cut out the beer. Yeah. And that's when I downgraded from the red can to the blue can. I'm like, all right, let me eliminate those carbs and calories, try and do my part, but still get a buzz.
Well, I went to White Claw mostly now because I figured out I had a gluten thing, and but I catch so much shit for.
So you black cherry or you raspberry?
I'm black cherry most of the time, but I drink too much of it. But
it goes down smooth. It really does.
Yeah, I've learned to like it, which is funny because I talk so much trash to my friends drinking it, and now I drink it, but I'll drink it on stage, and then someone will, people always yell at me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're such a pussy, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll explain. I'm like, I'd love to drink regular beer like you guys, but if I drink regular beer, I'll have a gluten reaction. I'll violently shit blood out of my asshole. And then dudes are like,
oh my God.
And then dudes are like, oh, you know what? It's not that bad. Like, I mean, I've had mango or lime. I do it on stage and it gets a reaction, but.
That's funny. So did you guys hear about, it may be satire or just some internet stupid shit, but it was like an article that said that some lady was so constipated that she lost 10 years of memory from straining herself
to shit.
Yeah.
I mean, how accurate is that, though?
I don't know, straining yourself that hard
that she forgot 10 years of her life.
Lose memory. It was probably satire, but it gave me a good laugh.
I had a couple that were tough that I choose to forget everything that happened. That I'd just like to get them out of my memory.
Well, so hopefully that gluten intake isn't going to create an episode here.
I think the gluten, I think it's not as bad because I went to the doctor like you did. I don't know. There was so much wrong with me, man. I just have treated my body like trash for, just being on the road, eating like gas station dinner at midnight and stuff.
Yeah.
Just
takes a toll.
So my girlfriend's been great about, we eat, that was good about the COVID. We eat at home and she cooks everything and keeps it gluten free. But I made the mistake of opening it back up. And now I don't know how allergic I am. So we'll see with these Bud Lights.
Whoa, we might be seeing a little experiment.
Yeah, we might. No, I think I just don't know. But I was totally non-gluten for almost 9 months, so I've kind of let it back in my life. But it's probably not a good idea.
Is there a specific? Because I know, for me, I don't necessarily have a gluten sensitivity, but I do a little bit of IBS. Mm-hmm. And there's certain things that'll trigger it, like certain sandwich breads, like French breads, things like that. If I eat that, I'm shitting in a matter of minutes.
See, I think that was part of it. Is there's certain places that definitely cause it more than others. And then I used to always shit right before the shows, and then I just always blame that on
your nerves.
But I was never really that nervous.
Yeah.
I just use it as a ritual. But now it's actually good that I don't.
Kind of like getting up, going to work. That's usually what I do.
But I have the bad IBS where it would hit me, and then I just have to shit in 45 seconds.
Oh yeah, you don't have a lot of time.
Which has got me into some bad spots when I go on these long walks. Right now it's been bad because with the COVID, there's no more public restrooms.
That's true.
So when I lived downtown, so I was walking around downtown, I knew where certain shit was if I had to shit.
Yeah.
And now all those places are done, so I had a real bad scare one day, and it made me laugh because we have one of those Ring cameras at our house, and I was 3 blocks away, and I was like, I'm not gonna make it, and I was gonna just shit in this alley, and then I saw the Ring camera in these people's garage, and then I was like, my girlfriend, because I don't know if you guys have a Ring camera.
I got one of those.
So it shows what goes on in your neighborhood. Yeah. And so my girlfriend's gonna get an alert, and then she's gonna look, and she's gonna be like, Brent, did you just shit in this alley? Because I usually have a bigger beard too and look homeless anyway. So I was like, I made it home, but it was so close. And I was like, that's another thing, just changing my diet saved me from, because there was countless times. One time, one of the best days of my life in LA, I got to go to the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 1, with like the owner of the Lakers, sit in the private box. This incredible day, and then later that night, I was walking home from the Hollywood Improv. And just got in no man's land, and then just shit my pants all the way down into my shoes, and I was like tarnished.
Bro.
And I had to walk the whole way, like 10 blocks, just squish, squish, squish.
Oh,
and
man.
I was like,
just reeking.
that was such a great day of my life. That is now tarnished from just from that day.
You were intoxicated though, so you weren't like sober dealing with that.
I was drunk as shit.
Okay, well that's you know,
but it's
a silver lining.
Yeah,
it's impaled into your memory at
that
this
would
point.
Suck.
Yeah, it's been a little while since I shit my pants. Last time I did, I vaguely remember because I was driving a manual transmission, and I couldn't make it to where I was going, and I dumped a load in the trousers, and every time I would go to shift gears, it was just, you know, and it was a constant reminder.
Man.
It's terrible.
It's
terrible.
Come on, Brandt, you're a grown ass man. It was happening way too much for a long time, so this diet.
So you've dialed it back.
Changed. Yeah, I haven't done
that's good.
In a while.
I've been eating more salads recently. I'm trying to eat the greens, and it's weird now that I'm like doing that. Is I'm craving the good food more. Like that's what I want to eat. So it takes like a little bit of time for you to, you know, adjust and like. But once you start doing it, you feel good. But so if you had to pick, would you rather for you?
Okay.
If you had to pick, would you prefer to go to jail for 4 years for something you didn't do, or would you rather do something heinous, get away with it, but like always be worried about getting caught in the future?
I'd rather. I've done a lot of bad shit, and I like the adrenaline of the chase, and I don't want to be caught ever. So I would do, you know, like I would, you know, I've done. I try to kill my dad, and like crazy shit has happened in my life that
was that all true story? All that, yeah.
So like, you know, I love the gamesmanship and the cat and mouse of like trying to catch me.
Kind of like that Catch Me If You Can thing.
Yeah.
Great movie.
And I've like snuck into all the biggest. I always sneak into concert sport events and all that, and which has no consequence, which is crazy. So people are like, "Are you scared to get in trouble?" I was like, "For what?" Well, I've been caught.
Kick me out.
They just say, "Hey, get out of here." It's not like
yeah.
So like I said earlier, I live in. I do a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't. I mean, I'm 42 years old. I'd take a lot of chances, but maybe that's just the stand-up part. Is like I just love to do risky shit. So that's easy for me. I don't want to be caught. I don't want to go to jail ever.
Yeah.
I've been to jail. It's not fun. So I was there for like one night. That was more than enough.
Yeah, that's enough to say I'm not going back there. Yeah, that's tough. Would you rather? I mean, did you being an innocent man behind bars? I don't know, man. That would. I don't think I'd last a day in there. They wouldn't trade me for a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it just matters how heinous the crime is.
Yeah.
Like if I was like I like to do like Robin Hood like shit. Like I would like to rob a bank or like steal from I like to do stuff like that. But like I wouldn't want to hurt like a kid or like a, you know.
Yeah.
It would have to be. But I've been obsessed with like trying to rob a bank or like at one point when I was broke in Vegas, I bought this book that said that taught you how to rob houses. And I was like, I'm going to rob.
Do you get registered if you buy that book? Like,
no, I don't know.
You like go on a list?
It was yeah, they probably should have, but I bought this book and this other dude with me, and we cased out this house of this like drug dealer. So like in my head, I could rationalize, like I wouldn't steal from you guys, but I have
like,
a
this
weird
dude's selling drugs.
Yeah,
like,
conscious. And then we went, so we cased this dude's house for like a month, and he had jewelry and money, and we were sure, and we had the whole thing happen, and then the guy helping me wasn't even really helping me. Like at the time, I just never robbed houses, so I was like, if we do this, we'll split it 50-50. And he was just a getaway driver. I was like, now I look back on it, I was like, I should have gave you maybe 10%. But I went through the whole thing, figured out all the shit, how I was gonna get home and all this, and then so the day of. So we were ready, and then we cased his house, and he left, and then we were like, okay, go for it. And I went in this guy's backyard. I had a bag, and I had a hammer, and I was just going to bust out the back window, the back, like, door, like sliding glass door, and then go in there and rob him. So the day of, we went through all the thing, and then I got in the backyard. I had the hammer in my bag, and then for some reason, I just went to open the door just to see if it would open. and then it just opened.
Yeah.
And then alarm went off, and I got scared, and I ran away.
Oh, yeah.
And then I never went back. And then I realized, what are you doing? You can't rob people's house. Like, because I got robbed in my house in Vegas. A guy came in with a shotgun, robbed me right in the middle of the day. Years after that, like, I kind of got the karma of even just buying that book and thinking about it. But now as an adult, I'm like, I mean, that messes up someone's. If someone breaks in your house, like, you won't even be able to. I think you just lose all trust. And so many people I've heard just, you got to move out of that house because you never feel safe in there.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm so glad I didn't do it, because even though he was a drug dealer and stuff, was like I don't like to steal from regular people.
I mean, do you believe in like karma, like that everything comes back around eventually, or
no, not really, because I don't know. I just shit, but I don't know. Maybe because weird stuff has happened to me, like that, like the fact I did that, then maybe it did come back, but.
I don't know, man. I feel like you got to always pay a toll for something. Like, you know, life isn't free. Like, we got to eat. You know, you have to eat food. Even that's like, you know, a whole process within itself. And like, I don't know. There's like a natural equilibrium, I feel like, because I like to smoke chronic and whatnot, and like, you know, kind of joke around about stuff. And you know, I used to dabble in the dark a little bit more growing up, but it feels like. I don't know, man, because I've done a lot of dumb shit too, and I've been paying the price recently, man.
It catches up.
Well, the thing is, like, I think everybody just has a different code. And like, for instance, I worked at Dillard's, the department store, and I stole like $600,000 worth of shit. But I have no remorse for that.
Yeah,
that's like a greedy ass corporation, and they try to get me. And I wrote a book. It's all in my book. But I never. People are like, I'd never feel bad about robbing Dillard's. But there was like a time when I was in third grade, and I was mean to this kid, and we whitewashed him in the snow. And then I remember how bad it made me feel that night I snuck the phone in the bathroom. I called this kid up and I apologized to him. And even still thinking about that, like right now, I was like, I'll never forget how bad I still feel. When it was like third grade, just dumb kid shit.
Sure.
But someone would be like, but you robbed a Dillard's over $500,000. I was like, well, I don't care about them, because they treated me like shit. And then, you know, it's what... I'm working on it. I'm doing this TED Talk in February, but I'm like, if you treat your employees right, they'll spend every day helping you beat the competition. But if you treat them shitty, they'll spend every day trying to beat you. And that's what I learned. I was like, this place doesn't give a shit about any of us.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I just spent all day trying to figure out how we could rob them. And then when we did it, I loved it. I wish I could do it all. I'd do it all over again in a second.
It is exhilarating. So,
but then, like, I will never litter. I would never litter.
Yeah.
So people be like,
because Mother Earth.
Yeah, people are like, you're gonna break into someone's house, but you wouldn't litter. I go, man, I just have a different weird code, man.
It's like marginalized values, you know, and that's okay.
When I was growing up, I was working in an outlet store. I'm not going to name the brand, but it was like a sporting brand, and the manager came up one day and he was like, hey man, you know, I can tell you're kind of chill, man. So I'm gonna tell you about this deal I got going on here. And, you know, I have special customers that come in, and, you know, we fill up a bag, and it's $50 a bag. And that was his deal. And I was kind of like, yo, well, yeah. And so, like, I kind of, like, slowly did it. But then by the end, like, I was like, all my boys, Thursday night, I'm like, come on in, guys. Like, we're doing this. You don't even have to pay, you know. And I was, like, doing it like that. And that place got closed eventually. Yeah, that store closed down, man. But
they'll be all right.
It was kind of fun. I feel you though.
New clothes, and it was like,
I think I still have some of those articles. Yeah.
I can't say I ever did any theft in my day. I definitely did a little bit of vandalism.
Yeah.
Especially when I got my car. When I was 16, I was ready to rip tater chip, and I loved doing burnouts and tearing up grass and dirt, and you know, I grew up in a small country town, and man, it was that's about the worst I think I did, though. I really.
That's good.
Yeah.
You're a good kid.
Well, I suppose. Mom would be proud, I hope.
Yeah.
That shit's great. So, all right, I got another would you rather. Oh, so on the would you rather, I would probably, I don't know, I think I'm going to get away with it. Yeah. That's what I'm picking.
Did you persuade your view?
Well, because that was my original thought, and then like, but then you gotta like,
but I feel like
then
you
did
chances,
something guilty,
right? Rather than
I mean, and then you're a free man locked up. Like,
I'll get Stephen Avery.
I would get so jaded in there.
Well, I tell you what, if you locked me up for 4 years when I was innocent, I'd come out guilty as shit. That's like what happened. A guy robbed me in my house with a shotgun, and then it's a long story. But then in the end, the DA called me up. and they're like, you can come get your money back. And I was like, all right, what happened to the dude? And they're like, well, he got like house arrest and something and probation. He got like 2 months house arrest and probation. And I was just screaming at her like, why am I not committing crimes? I'm 1,000 times smarter than this guy. I would have done way better. And like, this is what the repercussions of robbing me with a shotgun. He moved me from a different room.
You too?
Yeah.
What?
Moved me from a different room, which they had as a kidnapping charge. I had to go to trial, all that.
Damn.
His family called me up and they were like, we'll give you $500 to not go to trial because the kid like had a baby on the way, but he stole $8,000 cash from me. I was like,
yeah, so you got to fork it up.
If I don't go to trial, I don't get that money back, and I'm not. And I had to go to trial, and then his family all came because he's like a gangster kid, and they all tried to mad dog me and all this. And the craziest part about the whole thing is, so then he gets guilty or whatever, and then so like 2 years later, my best friend in Vegas. He's like, you want to come meet my parents? So I go to his parents' house. I'm sitting on a counter in a kitchen. His mother comes in to meet me, and the second she sees me, she just starts bawling. And I was like, oh, this is not the first impression you want to make. Come to find out, his mom was a court reporter that day. And when she saw me, she started crying. She's like, oh, my God, I know who you are. I felt so bad for you that day. And I was like, it was like, what a small, small world. And then now she's like a second mother to me, and she's awesome. But it was such a crazy. I was like, but yeah, it was just a shotgun right in my face.
Wow.
Yeah,
and I wasn't even scared.
Just get probation for that though, like threatening someone's life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he told me if you move, so he took me in this other room and he set me in the corner, and he said my roommate at the time set me up, so my roommate was in there fake crying. And he set me in the corner and was like, if you move, sit here for 10 minutes. If you move or call the police, I'll come back and kill you. And I always joke about it on stage. I was like, okay, you could rob me, but don't put me in timeout. Like that's like at least treat me like a man.
That's messed up.
Man. That
seems a little bit traumatic.
That is intense.
No, I guess it was a little bit, but I wasn't scared. I've had a lot of crazy shit happen, but I wasn't scared in the moment. And then when I got outside, I was like, I start crying. I was like, oh, that was in the moment. I wasn't really scared. Another thing happened when I was in L.A. I lived in L.A. and I was hanging out at the Comedy Store, and this guy just walked up and shot this dude right maybe 10 feet from me. Just
right outside the store, huh?
Killed him right on the patio at the Comedy Store.
Just one shot or multiple? Or?
Shot him. And then, so I had to go sit in jail, not in jail, sit at the police station all night and everything. And then I woke up and everybody found out about it. And they're like, dude, be careful, you have PTSD. And I was like, I just was sitting on a balcony drinking. Mm-hmm. Like, that's for like war heroes.
Yeah, life is crazy,
but man. then like, a couple, for like the next week or two, I'd hear a loud bang and I got a little shook up and I was like, yeah, it's real.
So you actually saw it all go down?
Yeah, a guy just walked up,
shot
this dude. Well, I thought it was a firework because you're at your comedy club and you think, we're at a patio, there's a bunch of people out there, and this guy just comes and you hear this first pop and you could smell like the gunpowder, and I look up and just like out of a gangster movie, the dude just sideways, just boom, boom, and you see the fire coming out, and I'm at like 6 o'clock, I'm at like 9 o'clock, he's at like 12, and we dive under the counter, and in my head I'm just like, this guy's just gonna naturally turn and we're just ducks in the pond, and I jumped on top of this girl, and I just remember tensing up, just getting ready to get shot in the back. And then the dude just took off and ran away, and then the police came, and it was like a gang hit. It was like the guy just came in afterwards, and once we figured out everything that happened, I was like, oh, he was just coming to get this guy. But it was still scary. But I did have that moment when I remember just tensing up, like he's just gonna naturally turn, and it's a wrap. But
I mean, with all the mass shootings you hear about, you almost suspect, like, if I haven't been in a scenario like that, but you'd almost think like, oh, it's happening now.
Yeah, I just was like, it slows down so much, and I remember just seeing that fire come out of the gun, and then just jumping down, and then just being like, well, here it comes.
Was there like that moment where it's like, is this a movie? Is this really happening? Whenever I see crazy shit happen, even in a car accident, I have that second. I'm like, is this really happening?
Well, yeah, it was just like, I think it was really happening when the fire came out. And then you just like, I just tensed up ready to get shot. And then there was like a silence of like maybe 3 seconds where everyone just froze. And then I looked up and then he was gone. And then it was just chaos, And then a cop happened to be driving by. Someone flagged him down. And then my friends ran over and tried to help this dude, but he was dead.
He was dead. Really?
And then all these gangster dudes came over. I'll never forget, there's this dude in this wheelchair. and these two other gangster dudes, and they rolled over, and the cop's like, get out of here, get out of here. And this dude's like, yo, man, just let me see him. I just want to see him. And they're like, no, get out of here. And then so I posted something on my Facebook, and the LA Times took it and printed it in the LA Times. And then like 3 days later, I got this message from a kid in like Alabama. And he's like, hey, man, that was my cousin who got killed. I just want to ask you one question. Was there a guy in a wheelchair there? And I was like, yeah, there was actually. And I wrote back to this guy to like, what was going on or anything.
Yeah.
The guy just never responded to me again. But it was just crazy to be like,
wow,
I don't know what happened. It was obviously a gang hit assassination, because he was just there to get that one guy.
Damn. So I was kind of thinking, because you're not afraid to tell personal stories, obviously.
No.
And that's what's cool, though. You know, you open it up and then you're real. So do you feel like, you know, comedy or, you know, podcasting could be like a form of therapy? Like, do you feel like it's like helped you through things?
Well, I mean, a little bit, but if you just ever want to have a fan base,
Yeah.
you can't get on podcasts and be lame. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not I think the best podcast, you know, if I want to connect with the people watching this, I got to be vulnerable, be myself, not like tell good stories. I mean, the comedy is, there's 10,000 6-foot chubby white guys with beards. I can't be like, you know, like, oh, I miss like going on planes and like staying in hotels on the road. It's boring. Like, I think if you ever want to get listeners and build your fan base, the more vulnerable you are, and the more. But I guess a little of it's, I mean, I don't know. It's fun to tell these stories now that I survived them.
That's true.
You know?
sure.
A horrible time makes for a great story later.
Yeah. I mean,
I always tell my girlfriend that. She's like, why are you doing that? I was like, well, we got to get content.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a podcast story.
yeah.
But I guess talking about it a little bit. I mean, I've told these stories so much now. It's just fun, you know. Just want to entertain you guys.
Well, no,
and the listeners.
You're cracking me up, man. I mean, you mentioned this on the beginning, but that's one of the coolest things, because, you know, Kevin and I, we've been friends for like 10 years, and we just love talking and hanging out, and it's great getting, you know, people in here just to talk and hang out. Like that's been one of the best parts, is just the connection that we made with people.
Sure.
But to kind of switch it up, so would you rather have all the conspiracy theories be true, or have people who are running things truly just not know what's going on at all?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That is.
So have everything be true that we think is true.
Yeah, like all the
probably all true. It's coming to find out. Or what we have right now, where nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't.
They're probably both true
both
right now.
Both is a kerfuffle, really.
Yeah, both of them. You know, like, because I think most of these, you know, like I was talking about it with my buddy today about in our world, the comedy world, like when Louis C.K. got in trouble and Cosby got in trouble, we all knew about that stuff years before. It was just like it coming out, and that's how I feel like when some of these people give these conspiracy theories, I'm like, some of this shit's probably real. There's, you know, they always say where there's smoke, there's probably fire, and like,
yeah,
I'm like, so I'm starting to just believe. The thing is, a lot of comedians are so into conspiracy theories, I just don't really care, honestly.
Yeah, it stresses me out to listen to it. I briefly dabbled in that rabbit hole of conspiracies, and I saw how, you know, contaminating it could be, and just how it can pull you in. And I'm like, I just don't know if I want to get into all that.
I just like it when it's solved. If there's a conspiracy, and then, like, if they figured out who shot JFK or something,
right, and
they get the conclusion, I was like, I want to know, and I like the cover up. So I want to learn the cover up. Now on the like, I'm not into politics at all. Like, I have a felony, so I can't even vote. So it kind of gets me off the hook.
Yeah.
Where people are like, what? I go, none of it matters to me. I'm a shitty comedian. I'm just trying to survive as a comedian. Like, I just don't care about politics. So, but it seemed, again, I was tempted to run for mayor in my hometown in Wyoming. But then I knew I would just be the most corrupt mayor ever. Like, I just know that. Like, I'm fascinated by that side of politics. Like, I just love, like,
the gray area of politics.
Like, I just love all that. Like, that's what I'm into. Like, I like when people get in trouble or try. I even just like it when they try this shit and it doesn't work.
It's fun. It's entertaining at that point. You're like, oh, so and so just did this shit. But then how much of it is really, you know, with Twitter and on the way all the social media shit works? A story breaks, somebody comes out and says somebody did something, somebody touched somebody 5 years ago, and it's immediately like, should their career be completely ruined because of it?
No, absolutely not. That's the thing. Like, Well, it depends what you do, but like we're doing this podcast right now. And like I said, I'm trying to entertain you guys. I'm trying to entertain the listeners, same as you guys. Now, let's say 10 years from now, you're not supposed to wear camouflage hats. And then you go back and be like, look, Brandt's wearing a camouflage, this piece of shit. And I was like, 10 years ago, I thought this hat looked cool or something. Or someone gave it to me. Like, I hate that part, though. When you go back and cancel people, it's like, because at that time, I didn't, it's like, I could definitely be canceled. Luckily, I'm not famous enough to be, but the stuff I did, I mean, I'm 42 years old. When I was 22 years old, it was a different climate, like, of what I would send girls or send dick pics or stuff like. Now, in hindsight, do I wish I didn't do it? Of course. But back then, we were all doing it. It was just kind of what was going on.
It was the norm.
So I hate when people are like, well, you're all, like, I'm like, no, it's just that's what was norm then.
That's exactly what it was.
And I'm not proud of it now, but I'm not going to pretend like I was an angel when I was like, I just wasn't.
Sure. Yeah. And then they use it as, ammunition down the road, like, oh, so-and-so did this to me and that. And people immediately just make assumptions and assume it's accurate. There's no, it's just, that's it.
Well, yeah, there's no guilt, innocent until proven guilty anymore.
And I think that's a problem.
Scary. It's very scary because you could turn on me at any point. Anybody could post anything, and everything I've worked for my whole life could just be ruined because I, wasn't, broke up with somebody or something, but that's scary, and it's happened so much to comedians. But.
Yeah. The accusation shouldn't hold so much weight. That's truly how I feel about that. But kind of circle back to the craziest like conspiracy that I've heard about. I'm not necessarily on board with it, but the whole like hollow Earth conspiracy. have you heard about that?
No.
Yeah, so
too much.
Yeah, so on the poles, there's these two entrances to get into the inside of the planet, and on the inside of the planet, it's like a crust as well, like a rocky, and then there's like a dwarf sun as the core, which is like warming. It's like at 70 degrees in there. Like there's this whole story about the hollow Earth theory, and it's.
Now, did that come after Flat Earth, or was that like because like Flat Earth hit and then it's hollow Earth?
Well, no, because you can't have a flat Earth and a hollow Earth.
Right,
like
but I'm
the
saying
hollow
the
Earth has to be a sphere.
That opened the door for something like that, right? If it's flat, can it be hollow? Can it be square?
Yeah, I mean,
that's one of those things. I'm like, that's not true.
It's
but
too
then
much.
If it was, but there's too much technology. Like, that's why I think there's gonna be less conspiracy. You can't do, like, I used to cheat on my girlfriend a lot when I was young. Because I could just be like, one girl would be like, oh, she said you did this. I'm like, she's crazy. You believe her? Now it's like, if I cheat on my girlfriend, a girl will be like, oh, no, here's screenshots. Here's your house. Here's like
your location.
And that's why I think secrets are so much harder now because there's so much. And you can get paid for secrets. I mean, like TMZ. If you told me something and I wasn't, I'd be like, oh, I could sell this secret. It's like a different time on that.
Well, and also like the Facebooks and all, they are getting paid off of your like personal info.
So if there was like a hollow Earth and someone could find a picture of the portal, I mean, what would that be worth? $10 billion or something? I mean, like,
and then you're just gonna start.
Like, who's in there?
You're just gonna start a war at that point. And so here's the proof. Well, that's not true because this is animated. This isn't real. Yeah. It's everything's so divided. People are so offended still. Yeah.
It's so hard to keep a secret now. There's just too much. To me, the technology is like, that's why I hate all these. I don't hate all these conspiracies, but I'm always like, well, if this is true, someone would just have a screenshot of like. But then like I watched all that Epstein stuff, and I believe definitely some crazy stuff happened.
Oh yeah.
But then they said he has all the videos, and maybe those. I mean, I don't know. There's supposed to be a video like Trump getting peed on or peeing on that's going to come out.
Oh, the PP tape. Yeah. They've talked about
the PP tape. I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, I think SNL did a bit on that. Where what is it? Baldwin plays Trump, He's like, no, don't talk about the pee-pee tape. We don't want to talk about the pee-pee tape.
I didn't see
and it was a great bit for sure. And now that's
funny.
I mean, it is. The Epstein thing has opened up this whole child pedophilia ring thing is it's kind of alarming.
So my brother said this, but that's what unites America. Like, if you're right or left, it doesn't matter.
Everyone's against pedophilia.
Yeah, against pedophiles.
As you should be. It's the worst thing.
Yeah, that's one thing everyone can unite on.
Unfortunately, I think there's so many comedians that have been. I mean, any genre, but I guess as comedy, you talk about it more. But I know a lot of comedians, and it's one of my closest friends growing up. I can't. It's such a hard thing to talk about, but he's handed towards me about what he went through, and then I just didn't want to. It just was heartbreaking. So I don't know. I just would. He'd kind of bring it up, and I'd be like, "Let's talk about Hollow Earth," because I don't want to hear about your stepdad. It's just it's just the worst thing, man.
So I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna say, because there's so many bonky conspiracies and whatnot out there, that I would rather just be how it is right now and
roll with the punches.
People not know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think that's really going to improve. I feel like
because I don't know what I'm doing, so I feel right in either. Yeah.
That's true. I don't know what the hell I'm doing either.
Yeah.
We're just trying to make it day to day.
Yeah, man.
You know,
I mean, that's all you could do. You know, you skip the rock on the lake. If you throw it right, it might skip 5 times. You know, I don't know what that means.
That's an interesting analogy, Art.
I like it. I was skipping rocks on a lake not too long ago.
Were you?
So,
What, Lake Dillon?
Yeah,
I've been up there.
I got pretty good. I think I hit 8 skips.
That's great.
You know, it's all about how you got to cup it in there, like you got to, and just get the right one and fling it off.
Oh yeah, I grew up on Lake Winnipesaukee, dude. One of the biggest lakes in New England.
Hurt my arm doing it,
and that's what we did, man.
So hard.
We'd get out there on the dock and just start winging those suckers amongst bass fishing, skipping rocks. You know, it was one of the first things I remember doing competitively. You know, other than stealing smokes and stealing beers, you know, skipping rocks on lakes.
Skipping rocks. So I got one good story when I was like a little youngin'. I was doing this long walk with my dad. I had a girl. We lived in a rural area, so the blocks were like 1 mile or 2 miles per block.
That's a pretty big block.
Yeah, they were huge. It was like 5-acre properties, and so we were all like just walking out there. And I had a girlfriend that was like 2 bus stops away, so that was like, you know, a couple miles. And I was like, "Can we go walk by there? Not even say hi to her, just like walk by the house," because I was like a timid bitch. And and there's this snake that was on the dirt road. It was kind of cruising, and I like, you know, had a rock and stuff. I was like, "Dad, I bet you I'll hit this snake." And he's like, "Oh no, son, you're not gonna do that." And you know, and I threw the rock at it, and I hit the snake right in the head. And I always remember the snake was kind of like sitting there after that, like kind of like. And my dad was like, "Well, son, you actually hit that snake in the head." That's the end of the story, but
that's one of those memories.
It was just kind of funny, man. My pop still talks about it from time to time. You know, he'll like bring it up. "Oh, that one time we were on the walk and you hit the head in the snake." Yeah. I mean, you know, sometimes I have my moments, but a lot of times, you know, it's fumbling the ball and picking it up and continuing to move forward, and you know, that's part of life. Is you got to like. You got to roll with the punches, take a beating, and you're gonna learn from the pain.
Doing now.
That's
this year. We just got to get through this year.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's just trying to survive. Everyone's kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
You know, fuck some way or another. I mean, I work in the grocery business, so I have been in the trenches taking grenades since day one, and you know, I like that part a little bit because you know, I'm still interacting with people. I'm not doing the Zoom stuff. I still get to do the podcast. But a lot of people have almost become a little bit like fear has set in. I feel like. You know, I don't. You know, I'm afraid to do that, and we can't do this anymore. You know.
Yeah, I got people like that in my life that, you know, they're like, won't go to birthday parties. They just won't leave their house. I'm like, I can't. Even like at the beginning, we would just, like you said, go for walks, and I just need to be out of the house. Even though we would, if we saw people, we'd take, you know, like cross the street, but it was still good to just wave at people. And people were super nice, and it's like,
just
okay,
interact.
Yeah, I respect that you went across the street. That's cool, and we wave. And
I call it doing the snake. So I live in Dent, like off of Colorado and 8th, and 7th is a beautiful street, a bunch of big houses with like the big divide in the middle, and I call it doing the snake on 7th, because you got to like walk around and snake around people. Yeah. And so I was on the walk with my girlfriend. I'm like, snake on 7th. She's like, "What are you talking about?" and then so I like kind of told her what it was, and then finally like. Some guy was walking by, and he's like, you know, "Hey, how's your day?" And like, he was the first person to actually give me eye contact and like say, "How you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, doing good, just, you know, snaking on 7th." And he's like, "What?" Like, he was so confused on what I was talking about.
Snaking on 7th Street.
Yeah, trademark it.
So I quickly explained to him, you know, but that's how you do the walk respectfully nowadays. You got to like do the snake, man.
Yeah, I guess I learned that the hard way, because I was walking with my girlfriend and her dog, and that's what we do. I was just heading down the sidewalk, didn't think anything of it. I saw, you know, a woman jogging coming at me, so I, you know, got off the side and moved the dog. But you could tell, I mean, she aggressively pulled up her mask and made a point to run around me to know, "Hey, asshole, you need to be getting out of my way," kind of thing. And I don't know. I feel like if you're outdoors, you know, some of the rules should be lessened a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do no mask outdoors until I'm like close to somebody, but again, if I see him walking, I just cross. Like, it's good to be out and have the mask off for a little bit. I love every second of it.
Yeah, a little bit of fresh air. I mean, it makes sense indoors, like you said, with the low ceilings, people crowded in. I don't know. I mean, do you think we'll go back to full capacity? Do you think these comedy clubs will adjust? Or
I do. I mean, I don't know when. I mean, talk about conspiracy theory. My girlfriend thinks we just got to get through the election. Everything will go back.
A lot of people have said. A lot of people have said.
I'm fine with, but I mean, I think we'll get a vaccine and then we'll go back.
That'll have.
Some people will wear masks forever, but like, I think, I think we'll get back because it's just too much money to be. People want to make money, and
sure.
I would go tomorrow to. I mean, I'm. Half the reason I moved back is go to Bronco games. Like, I'll be at the stadium the second they'll let me. So.
Oh, yeah. So being born in Wyoming, you're a Broncos fan through and through.
Diehard Bronco
My
fan,
man.
So,
man.
I'll be there the second they let me. I'll be trying to get in when they won't let me.
Yeah, they're still bringing people in the parking lot, I'm sure, like NASCAR. NASCAR's been letting some fans in. They've been kind of doing a little bit differently than some sports. And then the rest of them are just kind of hanging out outside the venue. So,
yeah. I mean, those are the best. I mean... That was, like I said, part of the reason I moved back was to go to Bronco games. And then I went to every game the last 2 years, and now, I mean, there's going to be a game, I guess, next Sunday. It just doesn't even feel real.
Would your voice box always be gone come Monday?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we just...
Screaming and yelling.
The Mile High Stadium, man, that thing gets amped, man. Yeah. People are in there, like, on that third down. It's hard to top that feeling, especially when you love your team and, like, and they hit that stop, man. Like... That's probably one of the entertainment industry being in person and that's going to be hit hardest in commercial real estate. Like, how's that going to trickle down and affect everybody? And
we're not going to fully see the effects, I think, for a while. I just hope that the entertainment business can bounce back, seeing a concert at Red Rocks again.
I mean, that's all I did was make money so I can go to sports and concerts. So this has been torture.
Yeah.
Like, I love the energy of a live event. So I think that's where the frustration comes. Like, man, I had tickets, I had everything planned my summer. I was gonna get a perform at Red Rocks, like all kinds of dream stuff, and now it's like
just put on hold. Really,
I just sit in my basement. Yeah, you hope. Who knows what's really gonna come back? But
that's it.
I hope. I'm with you. We're on hold. I try to stay positive, but
that's all we can do, man. Keep creating. Keep working on things. I mean, it seems like the virtual thing, I guess it's cool because I see a lot of these comedians doing like the virtual stuff, pay to chime in. And have you done anything like that? Like from home or from wherever it's done at?
I was doing a Facebook Live show at the start of it, which was great because I would just because I had the soundboard. That's the thing. I bought my podcast stuff, but no one else. So everyone was doing just regular live shows. I could do call-in shows.
Yeah.
I made a ton of money at the start of Facebook just from people. I think they were just so bored, and they would tune into me every night at 10 o'clock on Facebook Live, and I would take callers, or I'd do a thing like if you called in, I'd ask you a question, and then you'd leave a question for the next caller.
Okay.
And you'd call in, and then so we just did that and made the most of it. Some nights I played music and do all that, and then people just loved it. So that was more fun than the very few. I did 2 corporate Zoom shows, and they're just awful. I just wanted the money, but it just sucks to just sit there. I'm a stand-up comedian. I was just sitting at my desk going, here's my jokes. It's like, it's just not
it's hard to have that energy.
When you can't actually, like, you could see people looking into their camera, but, like, there's an energy behind actually seeing somebody dead in the eye.
Yeah, so, I've turned down so many Zoom shows of, like, plus it was just a bad business model. People were rushing to get back, so they'd be like, hey, we'll do a Zoom show. We're going to do 11 comics, and we'll post everybody's Venmo, and then we'll split it. I was like, so... We're splitting like $3 at the end because no one has any money. No one's working.
And no one's trying to spend it.
I'm just bombing on here for $3. I said, I'm not doing these Zoom shows. And then I got in a couple of arguments on Facebook with other comedians. They're like, just do Zoom. That's for idiots. Like, all the good comics would never do a Zoom show because it's not what comedy is. It's like, so that part has been, that's just the worst.
Yeah.
I just so avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think, like I said, I don't, I've been fortunate to be interacting with people with what I do for a living and still being able to sit down. We did shut down for a little bit when COVID first hit, given the circumstances of where the studio is. just we took a step back and,
Yeah.
and caught our breath a little bit, but we were so eager to get back, and majority of guests have been just eager to come down.
Yeah.
You know,
it's awesome. You get to hang out with people.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, people have gotten away from that. I mean, we got Labor Day weekend coming up. Hopefully people are going to be doing some barbecuing and hanging out,
Yeah, what's everybody's plans for Labor Day? What you doing, man?
I got to go to Wyoming on Friday for a fantasy draft. And then I come back Saturday. I'm at Comedy Works on Saturday night, actually, doing a show. And then it stinks. I was supposed to be in Vegas this whole week. So I didn't book a lot of stuff because I was still holding on to hopes that Vegas was going to open back up. And because I had a week's worth of shows in Vegas. But so then I don't know what we're going to do after that. We'll just
take it week by week.
Yeah.
You got any shows coming up beyond that?
Yeah. I mean, I have Comedy Works then, and then I have a couple shows in Wyoming, one in, I don't know, there's one in Denver. Just follow me on social media if anybody wants to come to a show.
Yeah.
And I'll be at, like I said, I'll be at Comedy Works on, I don't know when you guys are putting this out, but I'll be at Comedy Works Saturday night.
This will drop tomorrow, so.
Yeah, so I'll be at Comedy Works open for Mitch Fattel on Saturday, or if you don't want to come out, you can just live stream it, I think, for $10. So.
Oh, nice.
But then other than that, yeah, it's just kind of week to week. I'm doing 2 big shows in in Wyoming with Josh Blue October 10th, but they're already sold out, so you guys are too late.
Too late. Well,
that's how it goes nowadays. Like the lines, you got to expect the line, you got to expect the wait, and like if you're not one of the first to try to do it, then SOL.
Yeah. So I was trying to go to a watch party for the Nuggets game last night, and
what a game!
They RSVP sold that out. I was like, oh, what? I just want to go to a bar and watch a game. I can't even go to a bar anymore. Yeah, it was quite a game.
It was. I'm glad they came back because a lot of people were counting them out against the Jazz, and it was neck and neck the whole time. I was kind of keeping up with the score. I didn't watch it, but it was like every time I look at it, it was a 2-point game the whole way through.
It was a great game.
That's good.
Colorado sports are good. We just can't go watch them.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, I'm from New England, so I'm mostly a New England-based sports fan, but I just love sports in general.
Yeah.
Big NASCAR fan. I'm glad that we're ripping.
Who's your driver?
So I was a Jeff Gordon fan my whole life, and then since he's retired, I've kind of just been like just a neutral fan because I do NASCAR fantasy, which I'm beating everyone's ass in that league, by the way.
Nice.
And just neutral. I kind of root for who I'm picking week to week.
Yeah. I went to one race in my life.
Really?
In Vegas.
Oh, this is Vegas Motor Speedway.
My boss flew in his mom, who's the biggest Jeff Gordon fan, and we went and Jeff Gordon won. It was awesome.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah.
That must have been, let me think.
It was a long time ago, man.
Had to have been early to mid-2000s?
Yeah, it was probably 2005 or 6.
Sounds about right.
We went to that. I don't know if you've ever been there. We flew in a helicopter. Only time I've ever been in a helicopter, which was cool.
Did you land right there at Nellis Air Force, right next to the track?
Yeah, so we were right there, and so we would avoid because the traffic's like notoriously awful.
Oh, yeah.
And then we were like, oh, sweet, we'll be able to get out of here. But then all the drivers came and took all the helicopters, so we still were stuck there for like 3 hours. That's the worst part of the NASCAR experience was like
the getting in and out.
There and out.
Oh,
yeah.
it can be pretty brutal.
But it was cool, and I was so happy Gordon won because she lived in Dayton, Ohio, and I'd go stay at her house, and she had a guest room, and it was all Jeff Gordon.
Wow.
So I'd just lay in these Jeff Gordon sheets and look at just like 50 Jeff Gordons watching me sleep. But.
He was like literally my boyhood hero. And in 2017, I got invited to do the Jeff Gordon VIP experience out in Kansas City, and hung out with him before the race at his RV. In the infield before he called the race. It was one of the coolest experiences.
That's awesome.
And he was just being I was a big Tom Brady fan, never got to meet him, but meeting your childhood guy that you looked up to.
Dude, you still have time.
Yeah, but
you're going to meet Brady, bro.
Yeah, he's on to Tampa Bay. I don't care about him.
No, but that's okay because he got you all those rings.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that, but he's on to Tampa Bay, so I guess
I was just going to ask, are you root for him, root against him? What are you?
I'm not going to root against, but I'm just going to continue to root for my Patriots.
Yeah.
I think it's
worked out pretty good for you your whole life.
On to the next. Yeah,
now you're going to have to deal with what the Broncos deal with. You lose your star quarterbacks, and then you deal with all the new quarterbacks. We'll see what Cam does.
Wait, Broncos Patriots play this year?
Yep, it's in Foxborough in October.
Oh, wow.
Cam Newton's probably going to get the start, it looks like, for New England, so it's going to be fun. I love the Broncos-Patriots game, being that I live here in Denver now.
Yeah.
And there's a good rivalry there,
Yeah, well, we hate you guys so much.
And I love that.
Yeah, you guys got it good.
Yeah.
Wait, so you met Jeff and he was cool?
Awesome guy.
Here's a question I always ask on my podcast. I'll ask you guys, who have you met in life that made you the most nervous?
That's a good question. I never really identified myself as like a starstruck person. I thought Jeff would because, I've looked up to him since I was 5. But the person that made me nervous.
I got to think about this one, man.
Yeah, I mean, it had to have been when I was young Because I feel like when you're young and you start to meet people...
It was my high school crush that I never hooked up with.
That's what made you the most nervous?
Probably. I mean...
That's a pretty good answer.
I mean, because you're going through puberty and, like, you're, like, super unsure about yourself, and you know I'm a virgin at that point. So it's like, yeah.
Wait, have you gone to your high school reunion yet?
Well, so I didn't graduate from my high school. I got a GED. I was like, I'm out. And so I'm unaffiliated. Yeah.
You could still go. Well, here's something I learned about high school reunion is like there was girls in high school that I would, if you told me, Brent, one day you could have sex with that girl, I'd be like, no way. And then you go to your high school reunion and you can definitely have sex with that girl, but you're like, no way. So you just kind of got to ride it out. She might have, your crush. There's times I've definitely had sex with girls. I was like, I just did this for 18-year-old Brandt because 38-year-old Brandt doesn't need to do this, but I got to call my friends that were my friends 18, like, you're not going to believe what I just did. 20 years late, but I still got it done.
That's hilarious.
I mean, it's a great way to word. I haven't been to my high school reunion. I graduated in 07, so... 2027 would be my 20 year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll go.
Just go. Why wouldn't you?
I mean, maybe I will. I mean, I'll have to take
People always say that now. Well, I think it's less a thing as it was for like our parents, but I didn't go to, I guess it was 15 or 10. I was living in Vegas and I just thought I was like too cool. And then I was like, damn, I wish I would have went. So I always tell people, just go. You'll be so happy
So I would have to like research it though, because I'm not gonna get an invitation.
Yeah,
you know when
like I'm gonna have to like figure it out and like maybe call somebody. Hey, like, are you getting invitations for this?
People from the school.
Figure out where to go.
It's cool to go back and you'll see people and be like,
damn, that this person looks like shit, or this person looks good.
Way better and different, and this person's doing
it's basically a judging event.
Yeah,
like everyone goes in there and is like, oh, you're doing great.
But that's like the initial
I really
part.
wanted you to fail.
You let your guard down, and then everyone kind of gets back to
catching up.
Then you're like, oh, it's just like we're kids again.
Yeah.
Yep. And now the difference is that they now have kids. I feel like everyone I went to high school with has kids now except me. That's pretty much how it feels.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
And I'm not planning on having any.
Ever?
No, I just don't think they're for me. They make me very uncomfortable. I've never been real good around them. I don't know what to say to them, and I don't want to get too close to them anymore. I mean, I work in the grocery biz, and just today I was sitting there doing my thing, and I looked over and just had a kid staring at me. Just like a deer in headlights. It made me very uncomfortable. Yeah. I don't know how to react to children. I feel like
for everybody for sure, man.
And I think I learned that young.
It's okay. I think that people used to think you had to have kids, but I remember when people would say, I don't want kids, and then in the old days I'd be like, what? But now I'm like, no, if you don't want them, we don't need.
The world has enough people.
There's enough people. We'll be fine.
There's definitely enough people on this planet.
Yeah. It's too much of a social norm. Oh, you got to get married, you got to live on a cul-de-sac, have a couple kids. It just never was something I wanted to do.
That's not what you want.
And it hasn't changed.
So who made you most nervous then?
I don't know. I was still thinking about it. Probably, who did I meet when I was
young?
Your
high school crush too. She was that hot.
It might have been. I don't know. I lost my virginity. I was young.
How young?
I was 14.
Oh, yeah, that's young.
And I was out of my league with this girl. I mean, she was a good-looking woman, and hopefully she's not listening to this podcast. But if she is, I mean, I hope she's doing well.
You said nice things.
Yeah,
she's anything bad.
Yeah. She was a nice gal, and I was so. I mean, I barely had 3 hairs on my peaches at the time.
Peaches?
I had no business diving into this. And I just remember being so nervous, caught off guard. 14 years old.
Was she older than you?
Nope, same age.
And you guys just said, let's do this? Had
she
done it?
said, let's do this. And I was kind of like, I don't know.
No, I trust me. I was a late bloomer, man. I didn't even kiss a girl, I think, till right before my sophomore year. And one time when I was in 9th grade, everyone's like, yo, you ever kiss a girl? I was like, oh, yeah. They're like, who? I was like, oh, Jackie Lucero. Then they went and asked her. She's like, no. And then it was the most embarrassing thing. I was like, damn, I should have just said no. But I didn't lose my virginity until like my senior year with my serious girlfriend. But
okay,
these kids now, they get after it early.
They get on
Dude,
it early.
It was after my first year, my first semester of college. I was 19.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
That's a good age.
But it changed me though. After that, like I was like, all of a sudden I felt like I got this.
Yeah.
Before then I was like so timid and like well, am I doing it wrong or like am I approaching you wrong or saying, like I was so in my own head and then after that I was like, it's all good.
I'm weird like that too. Like I'm so bad at making the first move. And countless times girls are like, are you gonna kiss me or what? And then once we have like that first hookup, then I'm like, I'm fine, but I think I dodged the Me Too movement just because I was a pussy more than anything. Like I didn't know it was gonna come back to help me, but I just like so many times, like, why? We stood on my porch for like an hour. Are you gonna kiss me? I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at that.
That's something that came better with age for me, I feel like, because I was the same way. And even with my girlfriend now, when we first got together, I got them first time jitters when we first went to hook up. So, the saying is, it's like trying to, hit a pool ball with a rope.
Yeah.
And that can be mildly embarrassing.
No, what you do is you stand far back and you whip it with the rope with an accuracy to get it in there, bro.
It wasn't happening.
No,
it just wasn't happening. I was like, we're going to have to try again next time. And luckily, we're still together.
That shit's funny.
I've been down that road a million times, way too many times.
Yeah.
I'm just a Viagra guy now. It's all the problem. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it does I've played around with it a little bit. I've heard Blue Chew's another good.
Yeah, I just ordered Blue Chew.
Did you?
Because the Viagra gives me heartburn, like bad.
Gives me a bad headache.
Yeah, I get a little blurry, but it's like it just saves me from so many. When I was single, and then like after shows, sometimes I'd meet a girl or whatever, girl be at a show, then we'd go back to the hotel, and then I can't get hard, and I'd say this on stage, but it's true, girl. Then they start crying, and they're like,
Think it's
you
them?
don't,
It's me?
you don't think I'm
Yeah.
pretty,
They
and I'm
always think
like,
it's them.
you crying?
It's
is
not a
gonna
light
make
switch.
This hard. This is not.
Like the penis is not a light switch. It's not a flip on, flip off thing.
Nope.
So I take a half. Only take a half though.
Halfer's all you need.
A hole's too much, but the problem with what I'm dealing with now is I just get this awful heartburn.
Yeah.
I deal with that on a
The
daily.
agita, huh?
I take omeprazole every day, a little bit of Prilosec, just because.
Really?
Yeah, I got acid reflux.
I should take it right when I'm taking my Viagra.
Yeah, maybe boom, boom.
It just ruins. And so many times I think I'm going to get laid and I'll take it, and then it doesn't happen, and then I'm just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It's 4 a.m. I have heartburn, and this sucks.
Yeah.
It'll wake
these
you up.
Blue Chews, we'll see.
Yeah.
I just got them.
I've heard mixed opinions on them. I've never tried them, but kind of a newer thing on the scene, I think.
I'll let you know. Well, yeah, because it used to be so hard to get Viagra.
Yeah.
See, that was the thing. Like, at one point, I was like, I just want to sell Viagra like a drug dealer. Because then even if I got busted, it's like I could still look at my friends and go, I was just trying to help people get laid. What's wrong with that? Whereas, like, if I got in trouble for coke or something, they'd be like, you're a coke dealer? Like, coke dealer's bad. But in my head, I was like, yeah, so I got caught with 2,000 Viagra pills. Like,
Yeah, you're slinging that
no
love
dude's
potion
ever
number
going to
9.
be mad.
Yeah.
Like,
Love
any dude-
potion number 9.
Yeah.
You're slinging the love potion.
Yeah, so I was like, this will be
funny.
That is funny.
I spent a lot of time researching how to make it and get. It was going to be
Your
like
own
Frank-
I
brand.
was like, if I just made
It's
it.
gonna say BT.
Yeah, I was really like, this would be a crime where I would, if I got caught, this would be something I could make a ton of money doing. But if I got caught, I could still hold my head up high. I wouldn't have to walk around like a awful person because, like I said, I don't think any man in the world is going to be like, oh, you're a bad person for selling Viagra. They're going to be like, damn, I wish I'd have known you when you were selling Viagra.
Yeah.
And any woman that's had a limp dick is not going to be like, oh, no, you were doing the Lord's work. You think I want to try to suck a limp dick and cry and not feel pretty? That's why I thought it was like the perfect. I really rationalized, like, I can just do this and be aggressive. I would tell the cop that if he pulled me over. I'm like,
Yeah,
That shit's funny, man.
yeah.
that is.
I thought I was going to do it.
That's a good one. So during the quarantine, I had like this little the quarantine male arises from his bed in his natural habitat to try to court his female. Like I like would do that out loud.
You narrated your life?
Yeah, to my girlfriend, I'll be like, and now the quarantine couple is having a shot of whiskey at 1 p.m. to try to take the edge off. Like that shit was fun to
Did you
roll
love
with.
it?
Yeah,
You got to be creative. Mix it up.
Shit's funny, man. You know, if you're not being stupid, then like
Yeah.
you're being serious.
Those days
you know.
got long and the same thing over and over.
So if you could give humanity a piece of advice,
Okay.
you know, you could take this seriously or not, you know, but if you give
Very serious.
humanity a piece of advice to like better themselves moving forward, what would you
What
tell
would
them?
it be?
Yeah.
You know, probably be take Viagra is a real thing that I tell people. It just makes you better at sex. So if you love your partner, everybody should take it. But if I could give advice to humanity on what to do, I mean, man, that's so, I don't even know. First of all, no one could ever take me serious because they're like, what do you know? You're an idiot. Here's my advice. Don't listen to comedians. I don't know. It's just generic advice. Just be nice. I don't know. But sometimes I don't think you should always be nice. That's another thing I felt with.
You got to earn it.
Yeah,
You
like
gotta know when to be nice.
I've gotten a couple arguments during this Facebook just because I think everybody's on edge. And
man.
the one time this girl's like, "You're aggressive and mean," and I was like, "You know what? I am. because I think you suck, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to pretend to be nice to everybody, so I hate that generic advice. It's like advice to everybody. Wait, do you have an answer?
We like to ask this to everybody because everyone has a unique take.
Yeah, a unique take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone has a unique take on how humanity could be bettered.
Yeah. A lot of people think getting off social media is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I need social media in my world.
Yep.
I mean, it's a promotion tool, but like, the endless scrolling.
But I'd love to be done with it for sure. There's countless times I was I just wanted to get rid of everything and just move to Costa Rica and like live in a treehouse and surf every day and just live.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, social media, it does suck. That's a great, I don't know. What's the best answer you guys got?
What is the best answer we got?
I mean,
what's the first one that comes to your head?
It's usually the generic ones. Be good to people.
Yeah.
Stop being an asshole. I think, taking Viagra probably might go to the top.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to help a lot of people.
It's going to give them the confidence to be like, well, some people I feel like maybe feel bad that they do it,
But it's not bad.
It's a performance-enhancing drug.
I ask on stage, anybody do Viagra every night when I do a show, and no one ever, well, occasionally one dude. Then I just do that old joke of like, really? It's like $100 billion industry, and it's just me. And this
only
one dude, you guys all have
y'all.
perfect dicks. my good advice would be, I want to say something incredible, but it's just so generic. Be nice, get off social media, don't smoke. Cigarettes would be my main one, just I hate cigarettes.
I do too. Something I never did.
Did you smoke and now you don't?
Never.
I chewed a little bit.
You know what this is a crazy thing to say, but it's true. I would eat a piece of shit before I smoked a cigarette.
Really?
I just can't.
Like
I can't
human shit?
I couldn't smoke anything.
I
have like a weird like thing. Like I've never done a drug or anything, but if I was going to do one, it would have to be edible. But I physically don't think I can smoke. Like I just hate it so much. I don't know why, but I mean, everybody in my life smoked. My mom, my grandparents, my brother. I think I'm the only person in my family that doesn't smoke. But
yep, I'm pretty similar to that.
I've never done it, and I just would never. I just wouldn't. There's so many things. If we played, would you do this or that? And one of them smoke a cigarette, you'd be like, oh my God, it's just a cigarette. I'd be like, that's just the real thing for me. So I just hate. I mean, that's not advice, but I mean, it's good advice.
It is though.
It'll kill you, and it makes everything stink, and it's gross to kiss, and it just sucks.
Yeah, there's that. It's like you could take a shower, be super like whistle clean, and then smoke a cigarette, and you're gonna smell dirty.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
So just everybody take Viagra, nobody smoke, and
listen to your comedians,
and get rid of Yelp.
Get rid of
Yelp. Don't give a bad Yelp review.
Don't do the Yelp reviews.
Don't give a bad Yelp review to comedians because you're assholes.
Dude. Yeah. So I was reading Olive Garden reviews one time because I was like all hyped up about finding the best Olive Garden.
Are they that different? Like location? I imagine they were.
Either way, but it was the one out in like North Glen or whatever, and there was a 1-star review, and it was because the parking lot is shared with a movie theater, and I had to walk pretty far into the restaurant. Seriously? Like you're gonna give them 1 star?
That's my
over
advice.
that.
That's my advice. Actually, give more good reviews to people because it's like if a train's running and it runs smooth, no one cares. Mm-hmm. You only talk about the train wreck, and that is something I've consciously tried to do more. When I have someone online that's customer service or something, say, hey, can I do a survey after? Or like I took this class today for the first time, and I went out of my way to say, hey, the teacher was really good. If you have first timers like me, I would recommend her because she was really good. And I think we live in a cancel culture, a whiny, complaining culture. So quit. Do once in a while, say something nice, like in the reviews and all the way we start the episode, like all that. Just do it. Don't only comment on something when it's bad.
I think that's great advice for humanity because everyone is so quick to jump on the negative train. Like, I mean, that's the great analogy. No one talks about the train running on time, but if it's late, then you're going to complain or whatever. Like, take some time out of your day to focus on the good, and that means giving that good to others.
And one more. Dudes, quit pouting. No more pouting. Like, these jealous, possessive dudes, you're the worst. If your girlfriend's not getting likes on Facebook, you have an awful girlfriend. Like, that's what I hate. Like, there's not so many people in my life anymore, but I'm like, dude, you can't control. When you're like a possessive dude, just know her family, her friends, we're all trying to get her to cheat on you. So just relax. It's the truth. Like these dudes, I'm like, quit being pouty dudes. Like there's some dudes in my life that are like, this guy liked my girlfriend's picture. Like you went through 67 likes and you saw. And remember when you were single, we're creepy dudes. When a girl looks hot, it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
Click.
Yeah, it's like, I hate that when it's like, why'd this person comment? Why is this person? I was with my friend the other day, and his girlfriend called, and he's like, I'm just with Brandt and his married friends. And the girl's like, what's their names? I was like, what's their names? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So don't be possessive. If they're going to cheat on you, as an incredible one, the Hall of Fame cheater that I was, it didn't matter what. You're just going to do it. So why, I tell my girlfriend all the time now, I was like, if you cheat on me, that's good luck. I don't think you can find a better boyfriend than me, but I'm not going to sweat you I just hate that. So
it's no way to live.
It's toxic. It's toxic. It's draining.
If you don't trust them, then you shouldn't be with them.
Right. I agree with that.
If you think, my cousin was notorious for this. He would just yell at his girlfriend, be home, where you at? And then they would get home on time, but then they would just blow some dude in the park at like noon. Mm-hmm. They always just got around it.
Just played the game.
And I think the girls are like, you know what? I'm going to get yelled at anyway. I might as well cheat and have someone tell me I'm beautiful. I'm going to get yelled at anyway. I finally told him, like, you gotta. They're not puppies. Like, just let them. They're going to cheat on you if you keep telling them not to cheat on you.
That's what it is.
Yeah, you keep telling somebody not to do that.
You're almost affirming that they will.
That's me. That's every comedian. You say don't do something, I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it.
Like, they'll always say that as a comedian, like, if you go to a show, if you guys start a comedy club, you'd be like, can I have some advice? I go, yeah, just don't tell comedians not to say something because they're going to do it.
They're going to do it.
And it's just kind of a principle. Anytime someone's done it to me, I'm like, I just have to do it now because I
wasn't even thinking about that before, but now that you said that,
not to have a boss, I do. You're not going to tell me. I mean, it's aggressive to call what we do art, but I mean, in a way, it's like you're not going to tell me how to perform.
There's finesse, there's moxie to it. You can't deny that there's a.
Yeah, but if you tell us, just don't tell us to.
Yeah, nobody should be restricting what anyone's doing. I don't feel like, unless it's rape, murder, and some shit like that. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And don't police other people, adults.
That's right, because we are adults.
We're adults. People like I don't wait for the crosswalk.
Really?
Because you know why? My neck works. So if I look to the left and the right and there's no car coming.
But downtown though too, it's like the law down there.
I just go and then people will look at me like I'm the worst person in the world. I'm like, you can see no one's coming and I'm a grown ass man. If I want to walk across the street, I don't have to wait for this little white light to light up.
Yeah.
I get amazed when people are like,
this guy's in a hurry.
Like, there's no car. I'll be like,
he's a rebel.
I could do whatever I want.
He's a rebel.
I never tell people what to do, like on any level.
Yeah.
It's just like let people. I just hate that. Because I always looked younger than I am. So people like I'm an adult, just like you're an adult. You're an adult. Our grandfathers, we're grown ass men. You don't get it. When I lived in Vegas, I'd have problems with security guards because they're the worst. But they would, if there's a 55-year-old standing in front of doors. And a 25-year-old, these security guards will be like, hey, sir, can you move? And then to the 55-year-old, and then to the 25-year-old, they'll be like, hey, man, get it going. Or like, well, you didn't talk to me like you talked to him.
Yeah.
We're the same. Why you talk to me like that? It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I'd say no, and then I would become a problem. But they didn't even have to do that. Just treat us. I hate that. I hate my other thing is like if people talk down to me because they have a suit on. I'm like, suits are $100. I'll go buy a suit tomorrow. Just because you're in a fucking suit. I chose this life. I'm in shorts and T-shirts because that's what I want.
Yeah.
I'm a comedian. But sometimes I'm like, all right, dude. I have a severe power.
All right, flashy man.
Yeah, I have a severe.
Okay.
Just because you went to Joseph A. Bank doesn't mean you can tell me if I can cross the street.
Tomorrow. Don't talk to me like this. Like you're better than me.
Bro, I'm not in your office right now. All right, this is equal turf.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think I just gave 10 answers. Sorry.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It's got me fired up.
But that's what people need to hear, man. It's some real shit, and that's is what we do in here, and that's what you do out there. Listen to you, you open up and you let people in because honestly, when you relate to something, when people can start relating to something and it's hard to be fake. It's hard to remember all the lies. You're better off just being honest and super. Yeah.
Yeah. I got dudes like that in my life. It's like, hey, I'm dating this girl, so here's a list of stuff we can't talk about. I'm like, well, I don't even want to hang out with you then.
Yeah, we got to follow these rules.
I learned that early because I was dating a girl in Vegas. And on the second date, she was like, have you ever got a hooker? And I was like, no, of course I'm going to say that because I want this girl to like me. But then I dated her for like 3 years. I had to ride that lie out for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then my friends had to be careful. And I don't want, if you guys come hang out with me, I'm like, hey, don't talk this. Like, that's. So then I just like now, when my new girlfriend asked me, you got a hooker? I was like, yeah. She's like, what? I go, yeah. And I'm just going to tell you because I don't want to.
It's just easier that way.
Yeah, it's just so much easier.
Yeah, just get it all out in the beginning.
Life.
I'm not real good at lying, I don't feel like. Something always gets fucked up along the way, We've all told white lies, but when you start trying to have to tell a story about a story that you told a story about, it's too much.
Yeah. I'm good at it, but it's just not fun.
Yeah.
It just is like, it's draining sometimes. I'm like, I can keep up with all my lies, but I'm like, sometimes like, why did I?
Yeah.
It's just not, as I've grown older and I'm like, let's just not lie and it's much easier.
It's easier. I would agree.
Let's be honest, people.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. If we're doing things wrong and I'm like taking advantage of a situation, it's on me to be honest to myself about it. And because other people around us are not always going to know what we're going through, and you can't ever expect that of anybody. And so that's why it's like up to you to judge yourself hard, be critical about yourself, and then that way you're gonna be like, no, if you're critical about yourself and you put yourself down and humble yourself, like ain't no one gonna tell you anything that's gonna like make you feel bad because you're already giving yourself the hard truth. Like that's how I'm feeling for the rest of the week. I know I was a little lazy on Monday, like, and sometimes I miss a step or two, but it's like we got to come back in. We got to come back in strong and be honest with the lackadaisical or whatever we're dealing with, and the week continues and the month continues.
We're into September, man.
Yeah. When you miss a step, that's bad. That's 8 weeks in a boot.
You
can't be missing.
That's a setback.
That was. Bro, I think about it sometimes at night. And I'm like, I gotta stop thinking about this because that pain, that was I've never been in so much pain from an injury where I was like literally like I had to like tame myself from not shaking. Like it was so intense, bro. And like I drank a bottle of drank wine right afterwards and had a couple ibuprofen.
Here's one last thing for humanity: take care of your teeth.
Yes.
Because I don't know if you've ever had tooth pain.
Oh, I've had root canals. It's terrible.
Oh, my God. My teeth. I didn't take good care of my teeth. And, I have perfect teeth now, but that's because my old girlfriend's dad was a dentist. So whenever I tell these stories, it's like, you have perfect teeth. I go, yeah, but they're veneers that I paid a shit ton of money
they look
for.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I had to go in.
Looking good.
I had to go in, and I had like 20 cavities. My face blew up, all this. And I was like, I tell people, man, take care of your teeth because when I've got gout, broken, all kinds of stuff, kidney stones. Nothing hurts like tooth pain.
Tooth pain is enough to drive somebody literally insane.
To kill myself. One time, the first time my tooth blew up, and my face got all big. I was on vacation in Santa Monica. I remember just walking around the streets, just trying to pull my own tooth out, and kind of wishing someone would just knock me out. I was like, I just hope someone just
talking
punches
shit to
me.
people on the street.
Yeah, I was
fuck
so
you.
mad. I mean, tooth pain is the worst. The worst.
Yeah, it's
I
brutal.
think pregnancy is probably the only thing that would beat it. And I'll never know that.
Yep, I haven't
but
experienced
I
that.
respect that they go through it. But to me, I'm always like, I know pregnancy is hard, but you ever had a bad tooth?
Oh, yeah. I think my mom's even made that analogy. She went through some tooth pain, and she said it was almost as bad as childbirth. So
take care of
it's
those
brutal.
teeth.
Take care of them choppers. I'm probably going to have mine done, I think, in a little bit. I had some root canals done this year. I got popped in the mouth a few years back by a buddy of ours that's not with us anymore, and I paid the price for it. Years later, I had to do the root canal. The pain came back. Had to do the root canal again. But, yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. Take care of them teeth.
Take care of your teeth.
Hell yeah. And everybody, take care of yourselves the rest of the week. We're coming back at you next week strong. Another repeat guest, John Axe, is back in the building. Ooh. And then another local Denver podcaster. We want to get on the 33 as well.
31.
Yeah. 31.
Yeah.
33 to the 1.
Yeah.
33 minus 2. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to come on there and check it out, man, for sure.
Yeah, and check or come on. You can come sit in and just call people on Craigslist with me.
Oh, I'd love to.
Hell yeah,
that's fun. That's the most fun.
Yeah, I think you've sold me on that for sure. So the 31 podcast. What else do you want to plug?
31 Craigslist Chaos. You can find all those podcasts at the 31. I wrote a book called Free Roll. It's on Amazon, on Audible. I do the Audible version, so I think if you're a podcast listener, I think it's great. I'm so proud of it. It's got 130 reviews on Amazon, 129 5-star.
Beautiful.
Nice.
One bitch in Michigan just didn't. She just couldn't get with it. So if you're out there, but no, and I'll be doing shows. So you can just follow me, Brandt Tobler, BrandtTobler, on all social media, and come to a show.
Hell yeah,
Hit
man.
me up. I'll leave you tickets.
We'll have to come check you out.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause I haven't seen you do stand-up yet. I always see you opening up and kind of mingling around the city, so I'm eager to get out and watch you do a
I'd
show.
love to have you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you guys know we're back here next week. We got John of all trades. John X himself is back in the building. That's going to be fun. So we appreciate all your support. Appreciate you guys tuning in weekly. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Discussion Combustion, DCPC Podcast, Patreon. Sign up over there for a little bit of bonus content. Get yourself a t-shirt, a hat over at teespring.com/DCPC.
Rock it.
That's what it is, man. Brandt, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Had a great time.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon, brother. And you guys, you be good to yourselves because you all deserve it. We'll see you next week.